What's up, everybody? What's up? What's up? What's up? It's Pete Vargas coming to you from Colorado today. Stoked about today's topic. I'm going to actually show you what we did to land over 500 customers in 1 week. Does that sound interesting? Over 500 customers in 1 week. I see some folks pretty excited about that. And so welcome to Backstage with PV3. I know I've been gone for a couple of weeks, but I'm back. And we're going to bring it strong like never before. And so if you're here on the live version of the show today, let me know where you're chiming in from across the world. We got people watching this on Zoom. We've got people watching it on social channels everywhere. And man, I love doing this. I love really bringing this show to you and really helping serve you in a powerful and profound way. It is our way to give back. 95 to 99% of the content that we put out into the world is free. It's free. And, there's 3 to 5% of what we put out that's actually paid content. But the reason that we do the free is we want people to have, accessibility to as much as we can give them. And then, there's a few things that we put out into the world that are paid. And one of the cool things about Backstage with PV3 is we're not here to talk about our products and services. We're here to give you resources and strategies and tools and templates and to pull back the curtain of what you need to do to really grow your business. And so I'm excited about today. I'm going to do a couple of things today. I'm going to do something that we haven't done on the show before. And I'm going to be paying attention to my live audience that gets to watch this live. And then obviously it's redistributed for you to be able to listen to after the fact on our show Backstage with PV3. But I'm going to go behind the scenes of what I did, a case study that I did just recently that's going to show you the power of OWN and OPS. And if you don't know those terms, I'll make sure and bring light to them here in just a second. But then what I'm going to do today, because that won't take me a significant amount of time, I'm going to ask you to begin to present questions that you would want answered. Obstacles or challenges that are getting in your way, opportunities that you don't know how to navigate right now. I want to know some of your stuff because today is going to be the first time where I actually take some things from the live audience, because if there's one person in the live audience dealing with it, a lot of you listening to this are dealing with it. So I'm going to ask you to light the chat up, and I'm going to be paying attention to something that I believe will serve a lot of people. So what are those questions? I want you to be thinking today. And obviously if you're listening to the show and you weren't part of the live version of it, you're not going to pose that question. But I encourage you to be with us. We do this live every single week. Why? Because I want interaction. I want to be able to connect with the audience. And so one of the things that I would love for you to really drop in the comments is, what is a question that you have around a challenge or an opportunity that is in front of you? And I'm going to take some of those live today. So make sure you write the word question and then follow it up with a question. So what I want to show to you today is I want to show you how we got over 500 customers in a week. Over 500 customers in a week. So I want to take you back here a little bit. And as you're watching this show, we are in, a certain year of 2023, but I am going to take you back to a few dates here. And let me just lock this in for you. How did we, from August 4th to August 12th, which by the way is 8 days, so it's not technically 7 days. What did we do during that time to not just generate millions of dollars of revenue, but over 500 customers? And I actually believe once I did the math, it's probably closer to 700 to 750 customers that took place over that period that we were able to bring into our world over a 1 week period. Just recently on Instagram, I posted about this. And if you're not following me on Instagram, make sure you do. Pete Vargas III. And today I'm actually, for anybody on the show, I'm going to be paying attention to anybody that posts their biggest takeaway from Backstage with PV3 and encourages folks to tune in. Like, one of the gifts that you can give to people that won't cost them anything but some time is letting them know about this show. And so I'm going to encourage you to today, post your biggest takeaway from today and encourage people out there to tune in every single week on Thursdays at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I hope I got that right. 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Every Thursday, we are live. And so I want to know what your biggest takeaways are from today. So let me just start. There was this, I'm going to take you behind the scenes of August 4th through August 12th. And what took place during this time is I wanted to go run a case study to show you what's possible in 1 week. In 1 week. Most of this stuff was not even on the calendar in episode 1 of Backstage with PV3. And if you don't know what PV3 is, it's Pete Vargas III. And when you make me angry because you're not like tuned in and you're not like implementing and you're not present, you need to call me Pedro instead of Pete. Pedro is my real name on my license. I'm Pedro Vargas III, and Pedro only comes out when people aren't engaged and taking action. When they're not taking action, that's when Pedro comes out. So one of the things I wanted to do is I wanted to show you a model of how a week could change your life, how 1 week could make a significant impact. So a couple of months when we first launched this show, I targeted this week to be a big week. What do you mean, big week? What do you mean? So on August 4th, and I did not land this stage, but a couple of weeks prior, on August 4th, I was on an OPS. I was on an OPS. And then on August 5th and 6th, I had my own stage in Denver, Colorado, which is called 10X Stages Workshop. My own stage. Remember, there are 2 major categories of stages. 2, OPSs, other people's stages, and your own. And what we encourage is for you to be on as many OPSs as you possibly can, because it doesn't cost, you don't have to build it, fill it, or fund it. Somebody else has built it, filled it, or funded it for you. They've built the podcast. They built the mastermind. They built the big event. They built the local stage. You don't have to do it. You just have to show up and deliver a powerful talk. But then simultaneously, we're encouraging you to have one of your own stages that you're building at a time. Why one? Because you do have to build it, you do have to fill it, and you do have to fund it. And you can do that on the digital side or on the physical side. And so one of the key principles that I believe in building a business is, what are you doing to build one of your own stages? One of your own stages. But simultaneously, what are you doing to be on other people's stages? Those are the 2 major categories of stages. And what I want to encourage you and ask you the question is, how many OPSs that are you going after, both in the digital OPS and the physical OPS? How many are you going after? How many have you been on? But then what are you doing to build your own stage? You see, there is nobody better in the world than PV3. And if you argue with me, Pedro will come out. There's nobody better in the world that understands how to put people on other people's stages. But also the flip side, there's nobody better in the world that understands how to build your own stages, because since COVID, we have had the biggest and best name, the biggest names in the world have hired us to help them understand how to build out their own stages, especially their virtual and hybrid stages. They're virtual and hybrid stages. We will build probably what is the biggest virtual stage for somebody next year. Maybe the two biggest stages that happen next year will be two stages that we're building out with people of their own stages. And I won't tell you about it until it's time to release that. But what I want to begin with is, as you are beginning to put your plan together in the next 6 to 12 months. And by the way, one of my favorite scriptures on that, and I just told my team this recently, Proverbs 21:5 says, and I would encourage you to write this down because it's a principle. You don't have to be a Christian or a person of faith to understand this principle. The plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance, but everyone who is hasty comes only to poverty. The plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance, but everyone who is hasty comes only to poverty. What does that mean? Like, you have got to have a game plan and you have to be diligent in going after it. The problem is a lot of people are diligent in going after no plan. They have no vision. And when there's no vision, the people perish. So diligence doesn't supersede the plan supersedes diligence. But then there has to be diligence in executing the plan. And so my hope for you today, as I pull back this case study that I did in 1 week, by the way, with intentionality, not even my team knows that I had intentionality to stack 1 week. Today's title should be the fact that we did more in 1 week than most people do in a year, or most business owners, beginning business owners, do in a decade. Because that's the power of stages when you wrap your brain around. That's the power of these stages. So for everybody who hasn't listened to the past version of Everything Revolves Around one of 4 things in this show, we're either helping you understand how to get on other people's stages, we're helping you understand how to build your own stages, we're helping you get clear on the products and services that you want to take to this world, or we're helping you get clear on communication and how to become world-class in that. Everything that we do on this show falls into one of those 4 buckets. And today, I emphasize OPS and OWN. I emphasize OPS and OWN. And so on August 4th, we were on a physical OPS. We were on a physical OPS, meaning it's in person with an audience. It's in person with an audience. And then on August 5th and 6th of this year, we had our own workshop, which was a physical workshop. It was a physical own stage of ours that had, I think, 150 people, 160, maybe 170. Not a lot. Not huge. And it was a workshop. So not only was it physical, that's the modality, the type of it was workshop. People paid $3 to $5K to be in that. This OPS, which isn't our stage, had 1,000 people, and it was a single room conference, not a multi-room conference, a single room conference. There's conferences that are single room and conferences that are multi-room, meaning they have breakout sessions too. This was a single room conference that we did not have to fill the 1,000 people to be in there. We did not have to fill the 1,000 people to be in there. So that's now August 4th, August 5th, August 6th. Now make sure I'm looking at my calendar right here, making sure that there was nothing else. And then check this, on August 10th, we were then on, I like to say this is a little bit of mix, but I'll say it was OPS. It was another person's stage, and it was digital. And this type of stage is what you would call a webinar. A webinar. And so now all of a sudden we're on a digital webinar. And then on August 12th, we had our own stage, which you call the Great American Speak Off. Some like to call it TGAS. We call it TGAS. And we had a few hundred people there at the Great American Speak Off in Miami. And if you're listening to this, you can go to speakoff.com. We might or might not have upcoming cities, and we've now added virtual opportunities for you to register East Coast, West Coast, and Central to be a part of it virtually if you can't join us in a city as well. So we've now decided to add that as well. And we might be closed out as you're listening to this in the future, or it might be reopened, but we're currently in season 2. We're in currently season 2. Now, this is a single room. This is what you call the 10X Stages workshop that we did on August 5th and 6th was a single room, but it was a workshop where people paid a decent amount. This is what you call a free or low ticket event. People either came free or they paid $197. This is all in the course of 1 week. All in the course of 1 week. Now, this is the last thing I want to say to this because I want to show you how 1 week can really change the game for you. 1 week. 1 week. And team, as we're doing this, I want you to be rounding up the questions because I'm going to go right into a few questions today and give me like your top 3 or 4 that you really like that people asked. And I'm going to tackle some questions live today for our audience. The other thing that I want you to get really clear on, and Rachel, you can DM me or you can actually shoot me a text message. I need to get clear on exactly how many customers were generated out of all of these events and just an estimation of what the total or what an actual of what the total revenues are from all of this. You should be able to do that. And I should have had those numbers, but I have them in my mind, but I want them very accurate. I want them very accurate. So really solid. So now this is what's happening. Now check this out. Here was what took place. On August 10th, I did this webinar on how to do webinars at Grant Cardone's studio. And just shy of 20,000 people signed up for it. Just shy of 20,000. Pete, I can't do 20,000. Well, my first webinar, I couldn't do 20,000 either. I only did like 100 people signed up and like 30 showed up and like 10 or 15 bought. So what I realized was this first day, only about 4,000 of them showed up out of the 18 or 19,000. We were just shy of 20,000. Only about 4,000 showed up. So I had this crazy idea. Yes, I already know that I'm running the Great American Speak Off on Saturday, but now we have those emails of all 18,000. One of the greatest assets that you can have in your business, and write this down, is an email list. When I heard Russell Brunson talk about his email list, and that an active email should be worth $1 to $3 a month to you, it blew my mind away. I'm curious, what does that mean 10,000 active emails would be worth to you if you did email marketing right according to his numbers? What would that be worth to you if you had an email list of 10,000? My live audience, drop it, man. I'm like, when you do emails right, that would mean that that's worth $10,000 to $30,000. It all depends on the product. It all depends on how good you're doing email. But he gave this range, and it opened up my brain to say, wow, you can take my social media. You can take the algorithm away. You can strip me of my accounts on social, but you can never strip you nor me of my email list. One of the most powerful assets that you can own is your email list. I hope you have a target and a plan of building that every year. We just this year surpassed over 1 million people on our email list. Some of you are like, oh, that's pretty good math. That's a pretty good deal. And so why do I say that? Because on August 12th, And team, let's make sure we have a handout that goes along with this, that's illustrating this for people to be able to see in a nice, concise, powerful way. But I'm showing them the power of what an OPS and OWN and confined in the course of a week can mean to them. On August 12th, I said, well, on August 10th, we did the webinar. We didn't have like 15 or 16,000 people sign up. So why don't we just double up on August 12th and do a live replay? Why don't we now, because I have the emails, whose stage is this now? Now, because I have the emails, that became my stage. And I was able to do a digital stage and do a replay. And a few thousand people showed up for the replay. A few thousand people showed up for the replay. It's pretty good, right? I don't care if it's a few hundred or a few dozen for you. You've got to get started somewhere. I got started with my first webinar having a few dozen. A few dozen. Now, let me recap this for you. Let me show you what I want you to create in your business. And you're able to do this in a week, or maybe some of you are like, man, if I could just do that in a month. And I'm not even talking about my numbers. I'm talking about what this whole show is about, which is stages. On August 4th, write this down. I did an OPS, a single room conference, Elena Cardone's event. A single room conference, Elena Cardone's event. Physical OPS. So it's OPS, it's physical, single room conference. Then on August 5th and 6th, I did my own event in Denver, Colorado, with about 150 to 175 people in the room that paid $3,000 to $5,000 to be in the room. Then I took a little breather. I slept for a couple of days. And I said, let's go do a stage with Grant and let's do a digital stage. I did some physical stages, but let's do a digital stage. I could have done this anywhere from home. Could have done this from anywhere in the world. And did a digital stage. And that was what you call a webinar. A webinar. That's what we call it. And then took a little break in Miami, and 2 days later, did my own stage. Again, called the Great American Speak Off, which is free to low priced. Some call this a preview event. You realize all of you can do preview events in your local backyard if you want to. You can do it like I did it, where we ran a lot of advertising, or you can do it at a restaurant and you can buy people a dinner at a restaurant with 12 people, give them an incredible experience that night. And, 4, 5, 6, 7 clients later, you're like, wow, that was a very, very profitable dinner. This was just a local event in Miami that people could be a part of it for free. And some of them chose to upgrade. I think 4 to 5% of them upgraded to a $197 VIP option. So now I'm hosting another own event physically. But if you watch my reel on Instagram, you will see that I left that event on the 12th to drive across town for an hour to then go run a live replay of now my own digital webinar, because now I had the emails. I had the emails from what I did on the 10th. Why am I sharing this with you today? I'm sharing this with you today because I want you to see that none of this was on the calendar a few months ago. Some of it wasn't even on the calendar a month ago. The possibilities of what happens when I say stages are the fastest way to grow your business. I mean it. And so for me, the plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance, but everyone who is hasty comes only to poverty. This is what I'm memorizing. And by the way, that's not just for this. I memorize different scriptures every single week. But this is the one that's hitting home for me. And I just shared it with my team. It was meaningful for my team. So I'm going to share it with you today. I'm going to tell you the plans of the diligent. I hope you have a plan for your health. I hope you have a plan for your marriage. I really hope you have a plan for your spiritual journey, your faith journey. And if you're searching in your faith journey, you're like, man, I need some answers and I need some help and some wisdom and direction, DM me on Instagram. I'll send you some incredible things, some incredible resources on that. But let me tell you what most people on this show don't have. And Rachel, I'm going this way, so we got to be ready. They don't have a plan around their stage strategy. They do not have a plan around their strategy with stages. But I do. But I do. You might be like, wow, that's pretty amazing. Could you go do it again? Yes, I already did it again. I'm now get a lot of a breather, a lot of breaks. And now the week of October 2nd, in the week over kind of from October 4th to October 11th and 12th, I will reduplicate this all over again. I stacked a bunch in a short period of time. Pete, is there anything magical about stacking a bunch in a short period of time? No, I'm just doing it to prove a point to you. My encouragement to you is get clear on how many OPSs and which OPSs you want to be on. How many and which ones? I'm on one physical OPS a month and one digital OPS a week. OPS means other people's stages. I don't have to build it, fill it, or fund it. I just have to show up and deliver a powerful talk. And then I'm traditionally doing one of my own stages every month digital. By the way, I'm doing one every week. This is an example of a digital own stage, if you didn't catch that. But one that's for sales purposes, I'm doing one a month. This is not for sales purposes. This is for community and content. I'm doing one of my own stages a month. A digital of my own stages a month. And then I'm doing one of my physical stages of my own physical stages once a quarter. Once a quarter. For the purposes of like our business model. So I just wanted to show you the power of 1 week. And I'm going to tell you what, I'm going to be back here in October, and October 3rd to October 11th or 12th, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, you went and did it again. Yeah, I went and did it again. I've been doing it for 20 years. It just so happens that I did it for a lot of other people before I chose to do it for myself, because I didn't believe that anybody wanted to hear what I had to say. So I was simply the guy behind the scenes putting everybody else's messages on stages for the first 15 years of my business. I wasn't the guy on the stage. I was putting everybody else because I felt like imposter syndrome. And then I started to realize I have something to share. I have a message that the world needs to hear. But will this work for me? And it absolutely worked for me. I'm curious if we have those numbers. If you can DM me, or maybe you text me already, but I'll tell you the numbers here in just a second. Okay, guys, I was a little bit off, but here we go. I'm going to tell you what the numbers of that week generated. 582 customers and over $2 million of total revenues. I see Susan, I see Pat, I see a lot of you like, wow. I'm kind of wow right now, if I'm being honest with you, because I didn't know all of the numbers. 582 customers and over $2 million. And by the way, that's $2 million of contracted revenues. Contracted revenues. You have some people that aren't their yeses, don't know how to keep their yeses, let their yes be yes. But that's a whole nother subject and topic that we can talk about some week. Be the person who keeps their yes, but also keeps their no. Let your yes be yes and let your no be no. Don't let FOMO move you from a no to a yes. And don't shift your integrity to move your yes to a no. Sorry, that's a whole nother sermon, right? It's a whole nother. I should save that one for Sunday. And I'm just curious. Even on the live show, were you one of the 582 customers? And remember, we don't talk about that here. But were you one of the 582 customers? And some of you, Scott says no, Fred says yes. That's awesome. My whole point of today's show is to drive home the concept of what 1 week did in our business from OPSs. Physically, OPSs of our own stages, physical and digital of our own, but also physical OPSs and digital OPSs, physical of our own stages and digital of our own stages. I hit every category. I didn't just hit OWN and I didn't just hit OPS. I did physical and digital OPS and physical and digital OWN. And so what I'm encouraging you to do is build your plan around stages and be diligent with it. If you're committed, and I don't know where people can go, Rach, for us to be able to help them build out like their stage plan and get them clear on it. And obviously, if we help get you clear on your plan and we feel like you're a great fit in that for something that we can do to help you execute that plan, we're going to tell you about that. I'm not going to tell you about that today, but the gift that I want to be able to give to you is, and I'll figure out because I wasn't prepared for this, but I want you to understand OWN just means own. You own it. It's not somebody else's. You own that physical stage. You own that digital stage. It's not somebody else's. But the reason why you can't do as many of those at a time is because you got to fill it, fund it, and you got to build it, fill it, and fund it. Where on other people's stages, you don't have to. So that's the pro of other people's stages. The con is you don't own other people's stages. The pro of your own is you own it. But the con is you have to build it, fill it, and fund it. Man, guys, I hope today's fire for you, because it's the team said, what do you want to talk about? I want to go back through the case study of how 1 week could make a difference. Listen, I like 582 customers. I'm just going to be real. Most folks won't do that in a week. One, because they won't do the work. Two, they won't spend the money and invest in themselves. Three, because they're just getting started. But let's cut it in half. Would 250 customers and half that revenues be good? Cut it in half. That would be 250 customers and $1 million in total contracted revenues. Cut it in half. Would 125 customers and $500,000 in contracted revenue be good? You tell me. Cut it in half. Would 67.5 customers, I don't know if that's the exact right math. I think it is. 62.5 customers, excuse me, and $250,000 in total revenues be good? Cut it in half with 31.25 customers. Let's just round down to 31 and 125,000 in total revenues be good? Let's keep cutting it in half. What about 15 customers and 60 to 70,000? So the biggest mistake that you could make in here is hear my numbers and say, I'm not there. I'm not on that chapter. That's cool. You're not on that chapter yet. But you got to start somewhere. And so today, whoever's listening to this show, my hope for you is that you will begin to build your plan around stages. And if I'm being really, I used to be a pastor. If I'm really being Pastor Pete, I hope you have a plan in 5 areas of your life. Can I tell you those 5 areas as I kind of close it out today? Tell you those 5 areas. Area 1, I hope you have a plan around your faith. I hope you have a plan around your relationships. Those relationships in your life that matter most to you. I hope you have a plan around your health. I hope you have a plan around your wealth. And I hope you have a plan around your business or around your professional career. And in that one, a sub-plan of a child category under your business is your stage plan. Is your stage plan. And so, listen, if you are listening to this and you're like, man, I want to build out a stage plan, and I'm committed. You listen, if you're not committed to stages, if you're a kind of the entrepreneur or the person that's not really going to do anything with that plan and really be diligent in actually executing a plan, please do not email this email. Please do not email. We were not ready to give away a free gift. I'm just giving away a free gift. So if you are committed and you're like, I really want to build my plan out, this is what I'm going to ask you to do. I'm going to ask you to email Pete at 10xstages.com, Pete at 10xstages.com. And this is what I'm going to hear. You got to follow these instructions, because this is like $1,000 value that I'm giving with one of our advisors. In the subject line, make sure you put stage strategy, so that those aren't coming to me. Stage strategy. And in the body of the email, tell us where your revenues have been the last 12 months and where you want your revenues to be the next 12 months. Where they've been the last 12 months and where you want them to be the next 12 months. Maybe where they're going to end this year and where you want them to be next year. And here's what the team will do. They have a beautiful worksheet where they're going to help you get clear on how many stages that you should be on and help you reverse engineer your year and which types of ones are the best ones for you. So guys, that's what I got today. I hope today, I'm curious about what your biggest takeaway was. My live crowd can drop that in the chat. I am gonna take some questions, and we might just kind of record that as a second part of today. Rachel is kind of a little bonus part of today because I did take a little bit longer than I anticipated. But guys, thank you for being backstage with PV3 today. I hope and I pray that today was useful and helpful to you. Make sure if you want to take advantage of that, we're going to keep that open up for a limited amount of time because we only have so many spots where our team can really do that. Make sure you Pete at 10xstages.com, subject line stage strategy. Where have you been the last 12 months? And where do you want to be the next 12 months? Make sure you follow those instructions. And I can't wait to be back with you next week live. Got some special things because I'm back in the groove. So love you guys. Go take stages seriously, build your plan, and be diligent with it.